Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Big 3-hour program lined up today. Great guests, including Jeff Seeley, his best bets for the Memorial Tournament this weekend on the PGA Tour. Jonathan Davis on the NHL. Derek Stevens in studio. A little bit later on today, the owner and CEO of Circa. And in 30 minutes, professional poker player Shaun Deeb will be with us in studio as the World Series of Poker started today, and he has multiple unbelievable stories to share.
Yep. Ton of bracelets. Great online player. Started playing at 16 and won $800,000 on a weight loss prop bet. Can't wait to talk to this guy.
Yeah. He started playing at 16. I think I started playing poker when I was 14.
Uh-huh.
Family events, holidays, older, relatives got me involved. I loved it. Obviously never at that level. Wish I would have. Can I re-examine and go back in time? But also, that is pretty wild when you think about that. To lose that much weight and then to win $800,000 on it. And the guy who, you're going to find out in about 30 minutes, the guy who bet him, was encouraging him the entire way because he wants good to happen to people.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why he made the bet, because he knew Shaun was so overweight.
Yeah, Bill Perkins has a ton of money, right. And he also was like hey, I'm going to help you here. You're 306 pounds. Your body fat is 40%. Let me help you out and give you an incentive, and I'll give you 10-1 odds.
Wild.
Let's both have skin in the game. I'll put up what you can win, and you put up some cash, too.
All right, so that's coming up bottom of this hour. Beginning the show here, talking about what took place last night, and then we'll tie it into tonight's Eastern Conference Game 4 as well. I thought the game last night was awesome. I thought, so far, we've had some blowouts in the playoffs, but overall, the amount of high-quality entertainment, the overall drama that we've had on a game-by-game basis with some of the stuff in the NBA has been spectacular. And last night, to me, the shot-making at times, for the most part, was exceptional. The fact that Oklahoma City couldn't miss and they couldn't cover a 3-point spread, but also the Timberwolves led the game in almost every single category. StatMuse put this out right after the game. Rebounds, assists, points off turnovers, fast break points, points in the paint, second chance points, free throw attempts and makes, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. The T-Wolves led the game in all those categories, and they lost. And now I don't even care what the series price is because they're not going to win 3 in a row against this Oklahoma City team.
Nope. You would have been all in if I told you before the game that DiVincenzo, Walker, and McDaniels go for more than 20 points and they shoot like that and score 126. Again, not much help from Ant. I don't understand his post-game press conference. He only had 2 shots in the first half. Randall, a no-show, and to win all those categories and to shoot 51% from 3 and make 18 of them. Teams were 55-0 in the playoffs when doing that. Here comes your loss. And to win all those key categories and somehow lose the game is a crusher. You're right. It's over now. And they probably lose in 5, but that is just a score. I can't believe it. To do that offensively against that team at home, score 126, and you lose the game.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's not like they blew the game.
Yeah.
It's not like game 1 of Knicks Pacers here.
Yeah,
right?
They're trying to fight back.
Every single time that they would claw back and tie the game, here comes a 7-0 run in 45 seconds by OKC. They led, I think, pretty much the entire game the way it felt. And on top of that, Minnesota self-destructed, I thought, with the turnovers. They had 21.
Yeah, it was big, because OKC took 11 more shots. Yep.
Yeah, and they also allowed, I know the game was even overall for offensive rebounds, but some of the guys, if you could secure a couple of more on the glass, oops, it fell out of my hand, or oops, we fought for it. 2 guys fought for it, and it fell right into the hands of an Oklahoma City player, and then the putback is there. It doesn't also hurt Oklahoma City that when SGA is going to play like that, he is the MVP, but also when you get that game from Williams, which was his best game of his career.
Yeah, great.
Good luck overall. And I will say that I don't have a problem. I thought there were a couple, because to me, right away in that first half last night, both teams set the tone, and it was a war, and it was brutal, and both teams defensively were trying to set the tone with how physical they were trying to be, and they were letting them play. And then SGA got 2 ticky-tack calls, I thought. But beyond that, they also made up for that, the referees, by allowing Minnesota to be physical after that, and SGA would just make these crazy shots anyway. But if you watch the first quarter and the first half of that game, to me anyway, my biggest takeaway was, oh my God, there was such a huge difference between Anthony Edwards and SGA. They're not even close. Anthony Edwards is not even close to the same player as SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dominated that game in about 2 or 3 different areas last night, and Minnesota is very good defensively. It did not matter. He got to his spot, and if he had 2 guys on him or they put like the best defender on him, he knew how to shake them off, dribble to his left, find a spot in the corner, whatever it was. He was phenomenal at adjusting to what Minnesota was doing on offense last night and getting shots off and burying them. Their game plan defensively, after what happened in Game 3, clearly the message was, we're putting Lou Dort on Anthony Edwards, and Lou, it's time for you to be the guy that we thought was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And the message that Lou Dort sent to Anthony Edwards to begin that game, he pushed him around. He made Anthony Edwards shrink and go away, and he had no confidence, and the guy was a total non-factor. And because Lou Dort would not let him get shots off, Edwards did nothing else to help his team win. It was a total indictment on Anthony Edwards last night, and A+ job by Lou Dort and the Oklahoma City defense to do that to him.
Oh, you're strong. He had a bad game. I don't know what he was doing.
I know what he was doing.
I don't know how he can defend it. I don't know why you're taking 2 shots in the first half. You know, he said, I'm making the basketball plays and making the right plays, like finding the open guy. But you can't.
No, he didn't.
Finn said in the second half he was playing downhill and doing a better job.
He got better in the second half.
Well, you can't defend this. I mean, you can't be the best player and shoot twice. You can't just be like, well, okay, well, they changed their game plan. What am I going to do? I mean, that's crazy to me. You're the leader. You got to be the star, and it's not the first time we've seen that from him too. So that's troubling, and that stinks. And boy, speaking of Randall again, what's going on?
I have a bigger problem with Randall than Edwards last night.
Yeah. It's another guy. Well, after the game, he says, well, I was too passive. I have to be more. We just went through this. Come on. You can't do this again. The season's on the line. You're at home. You got to get the ball, demand the ball. I mean, don't just stand in the corner. Now your season's going to be over.
Sure it is. Yeah, you're not going to win 3 in a row against this team. So I didn't even write down, even look at the series price. Don't have to. I have 0 in. You could make it
18-1's a take back.
Yeah, you could make Minnesota right now 100-1. I don't think I'd take them. Okay. I honestly don't think I would. They were broken last night, and that was to me. Did you like the game as much as I did? I thought it was
awesome.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great from an in-play standpoint too. You're like, I don't think anyone's getting stops in this one.
Well, and the thing, like the shot making overall from multiple guys on the Thunder, and like the game that McDaniels had, and the game that how much money now he was. If you go back a week, Alexander Walker was dreadful. He was a guy that I wanted no piece of. I didn't want to bet on that guy with his player prop, and now he's gone over 4 straight. He's been like brilliant playing off the bench, and now people are saying, how much money has this guy made himself in the last 4 games? I
don't know what's going to happen because you'll have a new owner taking over, buying the team, Laurie and A-Rod. So do they come in and spend a lot of money, or is it going to be like, I don't want to pay this, I just took over the team, and you cut payroll, or you don't want to pay these guys whatever it's going to. I don't know what their mindset is. Probably different what's going to happen in Boston, but there could be significant changes. But it's going to be tough to get there again, the conference finals, and fall short.
Yep,
I did think it was a great game. There was a huge rebound at the end for SGA when he threw it up in the stands. 35-1, most rebounds. Dead heat with Gobert. And thanks to the viewer who sent this in, I think FanDuel had it. Both teams 25 points in every quarter, 12-1.
Yeah.
That's a good market, good prop. I'm glad someone offered that. But, certainly up against it because OKC's only lost 1 game at home in the playoffs, and that's the epic collapse against Denver in Game 1.
Nice call by you. You like Terrence Shannon over his points last night. Got there as soon as he was put into the game. Kid's good. Turned
Walker
the ball
too.
over too many times. Otherwise, he would have got more playing time, I think.
Yeah.
So that brings us to tonight's game. Like, which players are you going to look at? We brought this up yesterday. A couple of guys, just in case Aaron Nesmith is compromised tonight with that sprained ankle for Indiana. If he is, the more I looked at Benedict Mathurin, no thank you. Guy's been terrible in this series.
No, right. But you're right with the other guy who's going to benefit as a result.
TJ McConnell?
Or
is it going to be Ben Shepherd?
Well, both.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Shepherd yesterday.
Yeah.
And Shepherd's low with his points. McConnell's more of his points and also points, rebounds, and assists.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I think Shepherd is, it's 2.5. Shannon last night was 3.5. And as soon as he was put into the game, you're like, okay, now here we go. Now we're maybe cooking. And bam, you blink of an eye, and he went over his prop. And now Shepherd, so he's also he has been on, think about this for a second. If Nesmith, if he can't go or he's hurt, in this game tonight, Ben Shepherd has had the second most offensive possessions on Jalen Brunson. And Brunson's 5 of 12 from the floor. He played 7 minutes in Game 1, had 6 points in Game 2, then 17 minutes and 3 points in Game 3. Like I said, Matherin's been terrible. And Shepherd, 48% from the field, 41% from deep so far in the playoffs. 6-0 over 2.5 points when he gets double-digit minutes in the postseason so far.
Okay, and then McConnell at home. He's scored 10 points in 5 of the last 6. He's 8.5 tonight, and that's overall 5 of the last 6. At home, the 5 home games averaging 12 and 5. Dan Carpuck had this today, VSiN.com. It's 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Well, in the home games, he's averaging 12 and 5 alone.
Right.
That's just 2 categories. So there's several ways you can play that. At DraftKings, over 8.5 points is even money. And again, he's done that 5 of the last 6. So McConnell props, Shepherd over points, and then we'll see. I have no idea what Tibbs is going to do tonight. But then what does Carlisle do with Turner and Toppin? I know Wes Reynolds likes Toppin points under, but how they're going to do that, and I don't know if he can trust. I don't know if he can trust Turner on Towns and what he's going to do. Smarter bets start with VSiN Pro. Join now through the end of the month. 14 months, $199. We're kicking in 2 extra months free. Less than 50 cents a day. Promo code PRO. The morning email from Bill 80. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits, the dog videos, the NFL betting guide drops this summer. Limited time offer. Get it now. VSiN.com/subscribe. Code PRO.
Win-lose up next. SGA entered a club that only Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were a part of before last night. We'll tell you what that is coming up next.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
The drought is over. Carolina wins a game in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2006. Stankoven first goal, 30-1. Stahl last goal, 40-1. Anytime was plus 850. Shutout, 11-1. Anderson saves prop, 7 unders in a row. Empty net goal by Carolina, plus 420. Carolina outline minus 2.5, plus 680. How about it? 3-0. They shut them out. And the 2 empty net goals.
The most contrarian play on the betting board last night.
That's right.
It would have been actually Carolina reverse puck line.
That's right. Game 4 last night. Williams most threes, 15-1. SGA rebounds, 35-1. Dead heat with Gobert. Each team to score 25 points in each quarter. Paid 12-1 at FanDuel. Naylor plus 650 to go deep. Machado 4-1. Correa plus 550. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. Friend of the show, Chad Andrus on vacation. Hey, look at this odd basketball court in Croatia, right? Of all places. But then expand and then peak up. He's at King's Landing. How about it? Best TV show of all time. Game of Thrones.
It is? Oh, okay.
Oh, absolutely. Rough finish. But
Would you know that, by the way, if you were just
Thanks.
walking
Look at
by
that.
and there were no signs? I would not recognize that.
No, not from that picture? Doesn't look familiar?
No, not enough for me to say that's got to be, yeah.
Well, of all things, though, King's Landing, where he's at in Croatia, and then there's the basketball court.
How about the basketball court, by the way?
There? Huh? Yeah.
The oblong, like the corners are.
Uh-huh.
imagine if the hoop was actually shaped like that, or the court was.
Yes, I know. That is great. Yep. Okay, this is funny. Where the dog wants to hang with his friends, he jumps over the gate. He wants to hang out. He hangs out with the goats at night. Hey guys, how you doing? You want to play? Yeah, I couldn't sleep. What's going on in here? What are you up to? And rub my belly. Hey, lean over. You want to play? Look at that. Of all things.
They give good belly rubs in here. Come on, let's go, boys.
Jumping over. He wants to hang with the goats. Yeah, buddy. There you go. What are you up to? It reminds me of the one when all these dogs bring a deer home. And they come in the front door or in the doggy door as well. Hey, I found a new friend. Is he allowed in? This is great.
Oh, look at the goats hopping on top of them here.
Yeah. We're all friends. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. It's great. Got the tortilla wrap. They want to put, give me that. Bulldog comes in. What is he under? He's under the couch or something? What? They put the tortilla wrap down there, and
Look at the size of the paw when it comes in.
I know. Yeah, just grabs that sucker. One lick and then give me
Wham!
that. That's dinner for me. Absolutely. That's awesome. Good job sending that in. as well. Dog grabbing a tortilla wrap. Profit X. The finals are almost here in the NBA. Peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. Make your picks against other groups of fans rather than against sports books. Exchanges guarantee the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download Profit X today, code VSiN. Get up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. Go get it. Promo code VSiN, Profit X.
So here's the club that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander entered last night. This is via OptaStats on X. Guards with 10-plus 30-point games and 11-plus team wins through first 15 games played in a single postseason, all time, based on primary career position. Kobe did it twice, 2008 and 2010. MJ did it in 1998. SGA accomplished it last night. Now, again, the T-Wolves, they're dead. 8.5 in Game 5? I can see him coming out and putting up a fight in Game 5 and covering that number. But
I would do first half. If they come out strong, it's got to be first half.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Which happened in Game 1 because OKC's been so good, especially at home with some of these halftime adjustments. I just can't get over this, the stat muse, and I know they put it up earlier. Minnesota led in rebounds, assists, points off turnovers, fast break points, points in the paint, second chance points, free throw attempts, makes, field goal percentage, three-point percentage, free throw percentage, lost the game.
Yep.
190 all-time in the playoffs.
Teams were, there you go. Teams were 0 and 190.
Yep.
Basically when those numbers happened on one side. Heartbreaker, man. Minnesota sports, by the way.
That's right. They get here, and they can't close the deal. Come right back with the Pacers?
Yeah, I like him on the money line tonight in this game.
So Halliburton said he took some of the criticism. His dad's allowed in the building now tonight.
Right.
Do with that what you want. But he said, we did a bad job, and I did a bad job. We have to speed it up and go faster. Where we weren't going fast enough, and we were slowing it down. And he takes the blame for that. So I know some people are on the over tonight. The Knicks are 6-1 on the road in the playoffs. We know a home team hasn't won a game yet, but I still feel like this resembles the Cleveland series. Win the first two on the road, lose game 3, come right back, big effort, and then go to the Garden with a chance to close them out. I think you get a huge effort out of Indiana tonight, and I don't know what to expect from the Knicks, where, yes, Cat was great, but he was benched in game 2.
I expect Cat to be good again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Foul trouble, though, is always big. These officials are getting in the way too much. Brunson's been in foul trouble in a couple of the games. He could have a big bounce back, as he was 6 of 18 in the last game. But, Hart, Bridges, who's going to play? Robinson, what's going to happen with the bench and McBride and some of the minutes with the other guys and even throwing Shamet in there? I don't know, but I think you'll get a better performance. And it didn't play well, but to be up 16 in the third quarter and lose, I think Pacers bounce back.
I'll give you some good and some bad here with Indiana, right? First, the good. Pacers, 4-1 straight up, 5-0 ATS in Game 4s under Rick Carlisle. They are not a sloppy team at all. They had the second lowest turnover percentage in the playoffs. They do as of right now. Third lowest in the entire regular season, yet they had 8 in the second half of game number 3. That was very uncharacteristic of this Pacers team. So I expect that to bounce back. Indy is also 18-12 straight up off of a loss at home as a favorite under Carlisle, and 48-28 when playing 4 or fewer games in a 10-day span. That tells you that he's quick to make adjustments, ready to prepare. 1 day off is more than this guy needs, and it also speaks, I think, to a lot of their depth that they have, which they're going to potentially need just in case Aaron Nesmith is going to be compromised at all tonight, and that ties into maybe a little bit of the bad. He limited Jalen Brunson to 27 of 60 shooting in the series they played last year. If Nembhard is going to be the guy to take over for Nesmith tonight guarding Brunson, that did not go well for him last year. Jalen Brunson was 26 of 39 when guarded by Nembhard in the playoffs a season ago. Indiana also is scoring 14.4 more points per 100 possessions in the playoffs with Nesmith on the floor than when he's off. He missed a bunch of time earlier this year, sprained his other ankle. The Pacers had a 22-19 record when he came back. They finished 28-13. And Indy scored almost 126 points per 100 possessions with Nesmith and Halliburton on the floor together in the regular season. That number goes down to below 117 when Halliburton played without Nesmith. So the guy does absolutely mean something on offense and defense to the team. But we're banking on the depth and guys like maybe a TJ McConnell, maybe a Ben Shepherd to step up. And guys that you can bank on to fill that void just in case he is going to be a little bit slow tonight or he doesn't play his normal minutes.
What should Tibbs tell Brunson? Everyone's talking about it. The 2 best quarters they played of the series, he was on the bench.
You got to keep it positive. I mean,
Well, do I say don't take as many shots? Everyone's got to get theirs too. Spread it around.
I would say this: if Nembhard's going to be the primary defender on him, I'd say you got to be who you are. You got to. The numbers I just ran down suggest that it's a bad matchup for Nembhard, who is a good defender, but Brunson's also elite on offense. You got to take it to him because Brunson had his way with Nembhard compared to Neesmith. So I would just motivate the guy. I think Cat's points prop is 21.5 tonight. Based on what he did in the regular season and 2 of his 3 games so far in this series?
5-1 most points tonight.
When it was 23.5 earlier in the series?
Yeah. Great fourth quarter. No doubt. Most threes, Halliburton plus 220, Brunson plus 450, Neesmith plus 650, OG 701, Bridges 701. You want, the Cat's even money for most rebounds. What happens with Hart now?
That's a good question. So he played 34 minutes off the bench in Game 3. Like, does he come off the bench again?
I would think.
And if so, does he play? Like, 34 minutes off the bench is a lot of time. Does that number come down at all?
I would take his points under. I would take his assists under. Rebounds is a tough one. But that's I don't know what Tibbs is going to do. He's just throwing stuff out there.
I know.
You know?
Throwing it at the wall. What's going to stick here? What's going to work? But again, just to win the game outright, I like the Pacers.
Yes.
I brought this up the other day. So this team is laying, depends on the game, but and I know the Knicks were down 0-2, so game 3 here in Indy was a little bit lower, but 1.5, now 2.5. The Knicks at home were laying 6.5. Game 2, after they lost, doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
These teams are clearly closer than what the market has.
McConnell, over. Points, rebounds, and assists and points. And I'm with you with Shepard, over 2.5 points as well.
Yeah.
But as we get closer to game time, we'll know more about Neesmith. But again, Mathurin hasn't played well, and that's good news for Shepard props. And we trust TJ, too, off the bench. Because I talked about averaging 12 and 5 in the 5 home games.
It's going to be a lot of fun coming up next. Professional poker player Shaun Deeb joins the program. World Series of Poker starts today. Started playing poker at the age of 16. He has 6 bracelets. He lost a ton of weight on a prop bet for a lot of money. All of that coming up next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We are stoked for this. This is going to be great. Pauly's been looking forward to this forever. Same here. We met his family a year or 2 ago when they came into town. They said, hey, we're relatives of Shaun Deeb. We're like, really? Get out of here. Yeah, we watch the show every single day when we were in mornings. And now Shaun Deeb, professional poker player, joins us the show here today in studio as the World Series of Poker gets underway today. Thanks so much for coming in. I know you're a very busy guy, obviously. We appreciate you taking some time here.
Yeah, it's awesome. I tried to get in with you guys last year, but you were filming a little too early for my Vegas sleep schedule, so
yes.
I couldn't get up for it. But yeah, this year it worked out well. I flew in yesterday. I'm playing my first event later today, so I'll just register a little later than I normally would to come hang out with you guys for a bit.
4 a.m., no good?
Yeah, I go to bed usually at 4 a.m., and you don't want me at the end of a long poker session. Like, I'm going to say some things that are going to offend some people. You're going to lose some sponsors. So, yeah, I can definitely burn some bridges when it's too late at night.
So you're 39 years old now. You started playing poker when you were 16 years old. So take us through that then. Like, how did you start playing poker at that age? And when did it click and you're like, you know what? I'm good at this. I love it. I might be onto something here.
So this is going to surprise a lot of people, my answer on this one. So I started playing cards at a young age. My gram taught me gin, back alley, pinochle, all these Trump-based card games, dealer's choice. I loved that. When I was 16, my cousin invited me over to his friend's house. We did a little poker game on a pool table, and I was like, oh, I love this. So I went on AOL Instant Messenger, put out a message, running a tournament Tuesday night at my house, because that was when the World Series was on. Did $20 rebuys, got 30 people to show up my first day, and actually at the final table we caught someone cheating, which is just crazy. So the guy was like bending the deck back when he was dealing, so it was self-dealt. And he was looking at what the flop was ahead of time. So we had to kick him out, give the guy who went out before his money back. And I won that tournament. I won a lot of them for like the first year or two. Then I went away to Bentley College, was going to be a finance major, played way too much online poker like most people in that era, and dropped out of school to play thinking I was professional, had no idea what to do. I always look back and that was one of the worst things I did in my career for like expectation, because I should have went broke many times. I was not good enough at that time. I did not have enough money. I did not understand what being a professional was. Thankfully, I ran into the right people early on in my career who taught me a lot about being a professional gambler, and they were great mentors my whole life, and still close with a lot of them to this day. And it worked out well, but I should have failed about 99 out of 100 times, if not worse. So it's crazy to end up where I did. Obviously, I'm very intelligent when it comes to games and game theory and psychology, but there's so much like financial backing in poker that was important that I was so green at that I should not have gotten where I got.
Okay, so how difficult is the transition going from online to live?
Oh, so I, for a long time, I was one of the biggest winners in online tournaments. I played the most volume, the most tables, most tournaments, most hours. I got a lot of experience, but my early live career, I think I lost like $2 million. And this was before all the crazy high rollers now. This was, 18, 19 years ago. And I was playing the highest ever was like a 10 or 15K. And I lost $2 million playing those stakes where I was probably the biggest winner online and the biggest loser live at the same time. So it took me a while to adjust to the dynamics of live poker, more players at the table, less aggression, people kind of have it more often. And so, it took me, until Black Friday happened that I really transitioned into being a good live poker player. And now, to the younger kids, I'm considered like a live pro, which is just really funny because the old school guys knew me as an online wizard first.
What do you prefer?
I prefer live poker. I like socializing. I like chatting. I'm a very outgoing person. I don't listen to music at the table. I always have stuff going on. I always want to learn about people. And I've met so many amazing people at the poker table that, successful people from so many different industries, and some of the craziest, zaniest people you would never think you would have anything in common with, but we sit there and play cards, and all of a sudden we realize how alike we are. And so many of my close friends and my wife even I met at a poker table. So I owe everything to poker.
I respect that it's just you at the table. No sunglasses, no hoodies, no earbuds, nothing.
No, I think it's sad for this generation to be all hoodied up. I think we've really done a good job of moving away from that. And I think a lot of the younger kids realize it's very important to just talk at a poker table and be entertaining, because if someone's going to come lose their money to you, at least let them have a good time. Like if they're miserable, that's just bad for poker long term. So I think I was one of the first of my generation to really be entertaining, whether it was my slow rolls or different things I did at the table, where I definitely kept everyone on their toes and entertained as much best I could.
Was there a point in your career where people, is this guy ever going to get a bracelet? Is he going to get over the hump? And then once you got one, did they start? How difficult was that early on? And then you have 6 now, but how did that?
Yeah, I definitely, was one of those people mentioned as best without a bracelet, for first 10 years or so of my career. And then I won my first one heads up with Paul Volpe, one of my best friends at the time. And we did a chop and we were just having fun. I'm known for slow rolling, for those who don't know. It's where you basically have the best hand and you wait a while to call somebody. And, as a kid, I'm dreaming of slow rolling for my first World Series bracelet. And me and Paul are playing this hand, and I have aces full with pocket aces in my hand, obviously like one of the best hands ever. And he basically goes all in into me, and I couldn't slow roll him for my first bracelet. I ended up covering him by literally 5,000 chips. There was $5 million in play, so it was a massive pot, and he bluffed it all off into me. But I couldn't slow roll him because he's one of the people I'm not allowed to slow roll, because he said we'd no longer be friends if I ever slow rolled him. So unfortunately, my dream was there, what I always envisioned in my first bracelet, and I couldn't do it because it wasn't worth losing a friend over.
All right. Wow. Good answer.
How nervous were you then? Although you knew that your hand was the nuts pretty much, and do you still get nervous at all today?
Yeah, I still think there's times you're uncomfortable because, I'm kind of out of the game a little bit. I got a wife and 2 kids, so I don't travel as much. I don't play online as much. So I know that the game is passing me by. And so that's always uncomfortable. Like, this is the first day of the World Series. I'm going to go play with people who know a lot about me and I know nothing about them. And so that's, it's such an information-based game. And people have these notions about my style. So, some of the best advice I got early in my career was, I think it was Phil Locke said, as you get more famous in poker, there's going to be 2 types of people. Those who try to bluff you because you're the name pro, and those who are afraid of you because you're a big name pro. He's like, if you can figure out who's who, the more notable you become in poker, you're going to make a lot of money. And that's one of the things I always try to focus on the table is this person trying to show me a bluff to text all their friends and go back to their home game and brag about it, or this person's so afraid that I'm going to see through their soul that everything they do versus me, they have it. And so I always get to play the little fun game with myself in my head.
How long does it generally take you to notice like the tell then?
It's not necessarily a tell. It's just more tendency. And,
Okay.
That's why I converse at the table to get information. Like, how comfortable? What stakes do you play? Where do you live? Do you have a real job? Like, all those bits of information, they kill the dead air of the time at the table, but also they give me a lot of insight into what type of opponent I'm against, what's their comfortability, does the stakes matter to them, are they just here as a one-off event and they're going to play tighter, or are they here the whole summer and they're going to be blasting. So there's no set time and there's no set tell. It's just always churning and churning new information to see how best to use it to make the best decision each hand I play against them.
Is Ivy the best of all time?
I think Ivy's a great player. There's so many people at different generations who were the best at one time. Definitely there was a good stretch where Phil was the best, but there was many times he didn't care about poker, and he still played really well. He's a very interesting guy. He's really coming out of his shell the last few years. He has a kid now. He's gotten sober, I believe, stayed sober, and he's very talkative now at the table, which is so weird. Playing with Phil for 18 plus years, and he didn't speak to me for the first 10 years. And then we had a couple interactions over the years, and now he, with my weight loss bet, which we'll get into, he was asking me all these questions. Did I, get into yoga? Did I do this? Meditation? Like, he's definitely a different guy than what I envisioned him to be when I first, started hanging around him.
Okay.
Very good. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional poker player Shaun Deeb, Day 1 World Series of Poker today. You're going to go and sign up later on today after the show, you said. How many events will you get in?
Yeah, pretty much play all of them. So yeah. I think last year I played about 70 of the 100 events, and I played like 150 total bullets. So I rebought about 80 times on top of those. So yeah, so I pretty much will play almost all stakes and almost all versions of poker. So for me, it's a very busy schedule. I might even be playing 2 tournaments at the same time, running back and forth between the tables. Less likely to do that this year than I have in the past, but anything's open, and I just love it's like summer camp for me. And so we're back out here, and I'm happy to see all my old friends and see what the World Series has to offer.
Helmuth made a comment about the schedule. Do you have any issues with that? And what's your longest session?
My longest session, I've played 52 hours, and I actually had my biggest win and my biggest win in tournament and my biggest win in cash game during that session at the same time. So I played 36 hours of cash all night, playing 300, 600, won like 125K. And then I max late reg this satellite to the first ever $1 million tournament, the one drop. And so I end up playing while still awake for like 10, 12 hours of that tournament. I get heads up with Gus Hansen, and first place was a seat in an 888K buy-in event, and second place was $1 million cash. And I had, like 70 or 80% of myself in this satellite. So if I won the satellite, I would have 78% of myself in $1 million buy-in, which I did not have the bankroll. I still don't have the bankroll to play that much myself in one event. So, and that, this was 3 a.m.
Hold on, tease it. We got to go to a break. That's a good tease, though.
Yeah,
good
okay,
tease.
so hang on to that.
Gets good.
And also, he'll tell you about the story where he won a lot of money on a weight loss bet. It's a fantastic story. That's coming up next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue here with professional poker player Shaun Deeb. Very cool of him to come in studio today in town for the World Series of Poker. In fact, as he said in the first segment, he's going to delay signing up for the events until after the show's done with today. We'll get into your prop bet from years ago when you lost all that weight. Finish telling that story that you were right before the break.
Sorry, I'm not as professional as you guys. Where was I in this story?
It was a crazy day, the biggest win, and your heads up against
Cash
Gus
in the
Hansen.
tournament, yep.
It's $1 million tournament.
Yeah, so it was a $25 satellite to the first ever one drop $1 million buy-in. This is 4 a.m. I've been up for 2 full days at this point, and I don't want to play that. The tournament starts noon on the dot the next day, so I have to play my highest buy-in by a massive amount with so much of myself in 7 hours and try to go to sleep after just winning so much in cash, winning this satellite. So I decided to tell Gus, like, I'll dump to you. I'd rather get second place. It's actually $111K more money because the one drop was a charity event. $111K of the $1 million buy-in went directly to the one drop charity. So that's why, in my eyes, second place was worth more. So that's one of those things I regret not taking a shot in that tournament because I went to sleep. I was an alternate. I might have to play. And I put out a tweet like, does anyone want to buy action? I was able to sell $800K worth of action in like 4 hours. I woke up to messages. Everyone's like, I'll take 50K. I'll take 100K. Like, it sold out so fast. I was like, damn. And I was like, all right, I can play. I can have, 20% of myself be comfortable. I've already locked up 600K in the last 48 hours. But yeah, so that was a crazy one. And the funny thing is, Gus was also played all night playing cash, a much bigger game than I was playing. So me and him both max late reg that tournament and ended up, chopping and both winning $1 million. And Gus went on to play the tournament. He lost. He didn't cash. So I think I worked out a little better than him in that situation.
Oh, man. Incredible. Incredible. Did your family support you going back or dropping out of college and I'm going to give this a shot?
Yeah, so my grandmother, those of us in poker know that she's the oldest woman to ever play the World Series main event at 92 and 93 years old. She played in, I think, 11 and 12, I think it was. And she was very supportive when I dropped out of college. My parents were like, but if she had my back, she said he'll figure it out. He's smart. And, my family owns a bunch of restaurants in upstate New York called Ted's Fish Fry. So that was one of my online screen names. And I was had that to fall back on. So I could always run one of the businesses or something. But yeah, so I definitely made a mistake dropping out of college. I should not have gotten to where I did monetarily, success-wise. Still being in this industry 20 years later is crazy.
So one of our favorite things to always hear about it are like prop bets that poker players have made with each other. We had a guest on several years ago when we were doing mornings here on VSiN, and one of their buddies lost a bet, and to pay it off, he had to like wear a hamburglar outfit. They had to go golfing several different courses in Arizona in the heat, and he had to eat like $1,000 worth of McDonald's. And it was just stupid, right? But they had a lot of fun with it, and it was a great story. Your story involves losing a ton of weight with Bill Perkins, and you can explain who Bill is to the audience who may not know. But tell us about this whole thing, about how it started, how much you lost, how much you won, everything like that.
Yeah, so I was at Turning Stone Casino in upstate New York. One of the first casinos I was really a regular at, being 2 hours away, 18-plus casino. They had their one of their first circuit stops there, and I make the final table. I'm chip leader. I'm sitting up there. I haven't eaten all day. My uncle Donnie, the guy you met, and my uncle Bucky were there, and they love watch. They never really get to watch me play poker. So being 2 hours away, they drive out for the final table, and I'm starving. I'm like, can you guys get me something? They go get me some chicken fingers from the little snack shack at the venue. And I'm sitting up there, and I have the chicken fingers like rested on my leg, and I'm sitting there eating while raising every hand. So I'm doing balance, and like it looks hilarious. So my one friend DJ takes a video of it and sends it to Matt Glantz, who ends up sending it to Josh Aryeh, who Josh finds it hilarious, and Josh actually puts a tweet out of like peak male performance. Everyone starts memeing it, and like. And Bill Perkins, I've met Bill a few times over the years, very successful businessman who loves poker and loves health and prop bets. He had just won a prop bet off Doug Polk for $200K. So he puts out a tweet to me. He's like, I know you've been setting me up for years. How about in 2 years you have to get to 10% body fat, and I'll lay $1 million to your $50,000. And Doug Polk calls me. He's like, you got to take this bet. I was like, I can't do 10%. That's impossible. I've never worked out a day in my life. I was an athlete in high school, but I stopped and got a bunch of injuries. So I counter back with, I'll lay 100K to $1 million, and I get to 17% body fat. And he said, okay, you got 12 months instead of a year. And this was in March. And I was like, how about give me the start of the next year's World Series? So he says, okay, booked. So I take the bet. I hire a personal trainer. I hire a massage therapist. I hire this high-end doctor out of Texas who's an expert in like anti-aging and cutting-edge drugs. Oh yeah. In 24 hours of booking the bet, I had this amazing team who were all amazing. And if I can look back on it, I would have hired them all every single time.
You remember what people were saying right away? No chance in hell.
Oh, I mean, listen, people have doubted me, and those who know me best know that I'm one of the most stubborn people in the world. I'm one of the most diabolically, like, concentrated, focused. When I get to that level, like I've done in poker many times, nothing's going to stop me. It's mind over matter. It doesn't matter. And so, like, yeah, for the whole year of the bet, my wife did all my cooking. She was awesome taking care of the kids. And I didn't cheat on my diet more than like 3 times, like 100 calories each. I lifted every day. I took every drug I was supposed to take.
How tough was it early on? Because you mentioned you didn't know exercise.
This is crazy. This was the easiest thing I've ever done.
What?
Yes.
You were 306 pounds.
Yeah.
40%
I was
body?
actually 45% body fat.
45.
Yeah. I didn't get DEXA because another crazy story, you can't get DEXA scanned in New York. So I had to go to Connecticut every time. So it was a 3-hour drive just to get a scan. But yeah, so I actually maintained all my lean muscle mass the whole bet because of my drug regimen, because of, you know, my stature and how much muscle I had underneath, and because my diet and nutritionist was so good. So yeah, it was actually surprisingly easy. Like I vape, so I actually was going to quit vaping, do more cardio. Never had to do that. I didn't even do as much cardio as I was supposed to do. I was supposed to do like an hour and a half a day. I was doing 30 minutes every other day. So it was a breeze, and I know it's crazy that people can't believe it was that easy, but you know, I had the right team behind me, and I was not making any mistakes. I didn't put in nearly as much effort as I should have. I could have won this bet, I think, in like 9 months.
Wow.
If I
Oh
went
my
full
God.
speed.
God, are you
So
serious?
you were at 306 with the weight. The body fat, you said 45%. The target weight was 17%. What does that mean overall for body weight? Where'd you have to get down
Well,
to?
that's the whole thing, is because it's based on lean muscle mass, it doesn't matter. Like there's people who are 17% body fat who are 160, and also ones who are 260. So that was the whole thing. Like the key to the bet for me was maintaining my lean muscle mass and building it if I could. And Bill Perkins allowed me to take steroids. I only did 1 cycle towards the end, but it didn't make much of a difference. My numbers and my pace and my protein ratio was all great from day one, and so that's why I started with so much lean muscle mass, and so many people lose that as they're losing weight. But during the bet, I think I lost 95 pounds, and it was all fat. So if you look at my first DEXA and my last one, my lean muscle mass was the same.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So was the easiest part getting used to eating healthy every single meal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a creature of convenience, so my wife just had everything meal prepped 4 days in advance, and here was my meals. And the funny thing is, to start in the beginning of the bet, the hardest thing was actually eating all the meals, because it was only, I think, 1,700 to 2,000 calories most weeks, and it was actually hard because the volume of food was so much, because it was all very lean, you know, a lot of vegetables, a lot of rice, and I was on Manjaro, so it was really hard for me to actually eat the meal. So we're doing 5 meals a day. We reduced it down to 3 meals a day because it was helping me actually consume enough calories, because I actually would have had a problem with the bet if I ate too little. And that was like kind of the difficulty. Because like if Bill made a bet with me to lose 100 pounds, that's easy. You just starve yourself, you know. But he wanted me to also be healthy and not just lose weight. And that's the whole point of using the DEXA scan for the body fat.
Did he pay you off like as soon as it was done?
So we were, you know, it was, I think, 3 months to go. It was end of February. One of my good friends, Josh Ari, who helped make the bet, fellow member of Team Lucky, he was getting married the next week. I really wanted to go to his wedding, but I wasn't going to go if I wasn't done with the bet. And so I did a DEXA. I was at 20% body fat, and I had 3.5 months to go. So I offered a buyout to Bill for $900K. He countered $800K. My wife's sitting with me. She's like, get $850. I'm like, no, Ashley. Like, my wife is a killer. Like, she wanted that extra $50,000 out of him. I'm like, listen, we let him off for $200K. We were 100% going to win the bet. He knew it. The only way he was going to win if I got injured, and he wasn't going to collect the $100K if I got injured. So he offered a $800K buyout. Eventually, after like 30 minutes, we accepted it, and yeah, he paid the next week. He's very, very trustworthy, awesome guy.
Yeah. Wasn't there something about there was a tray of chocolate chip cookies early on? Is that true? And you
No.
True?
I don't know what story you're talking about.
Okay. I thought there was a chip of cookies.
There was something like Perkins made some jokes about, or I think it was someone said they were going to like bring at the World Series, bring me chocolate chip cookies and pizzas, and they were going to try to eat food in front of me to mess with me, but yeah, it didn't work.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings. Circa takes huge bets from pro bettors. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get the exclusive betting splits at VSiN, little as $9.99. Join the team for your first month. VSiN.com/subscribe.
All right, so Shaun Deeb's cool enough to hang around for one more segment. Professional poker player going to sign up for events at the World Series of Poker after he's done here. So he'll continue into the next hour. I want to get into like the cross-sport stuff from like poker players getting into sports betting as well with all these big contests in town now.